Good afternoon, FedPhoenix fam. So, I have a little something for y'all. It's probably kind of funny. I laugh to keep from crying, right? But a little reentry mishap of sorts. So, as most of you know, I've been home a couple years, and hell, I've been home at this point longer than I was actually in prison. But one of the things that a lot of people that I've talked to that have done prison time or when they're coming home and and they're talking to me, one of the big hurdles a lot of people go through is technology, right? Because as time goes by, the technology just changes so much so quickly that for a lot of people, even if they're just gone for a couple years or 5 or God forbid 10, 20 years, by the time they come home, whatever they knew of technology is obsolete. And now there's all this new stuff and new tech and new devices. And it's a difficult thing, especially if you're not just naturally tech savvy, for a lot of people to navigate, right? Now, admittedly, I have always been a not tech savvy person. I mean, always. I remember vividly in the early 90s trying to figure out how to program a VCR, the time on it. And I absolutely the worst at that you can imagine. It's, and then we had what was it? Nintendo 64 was maybe what we were playing then. And we used to play James Bond 007, multiplayer, and you'd gamble. Everyone would put like $20 in. Split screen, last man standing gets all the money, whatever. And the way I tell you that everyone would like find new moves and new this and new weapons, and I did a lot of losing. We'll just leave it there. And of course, it did me no favors that I also have really bad hand-eye coordination, right? So anyway, so this is my latest technology slash reentry mishap. Yeah, as you all know, I have these both things quite often. So I made a TikTok, right? As you know, if you watched all my videos, you know that because I made a short video saying FedPhoenix now is on TikTok. And it's one word, just like my YouTube channel. But I made a TikTok, right? And I scroll through sometimes, and you know, um, I post stuff sometimes, whatever, which honestly is not for really, about the prison niche so much as just me and my lifestyle. And I think there's some pictures of my kids, maybe one of my grandson, whatever, right? So anyhow, I'm going through my TikToky thing, and there are several TikToks where people are like, oh, hashtag paypeg. Never heard this before, by the way. And people are like, drop your Cash App and see what you get. And I'm thinking the first couple times I seen it, I was like, scam. And so I'm scrolling, and it keeps popping up. And so I'm starting to read some of the comments, right? And so my first impression was that a pay pig, which I hate the term because it sounds kind of degrading, is simply someone who just is like a philanthropist of sorts. They find people that could use a little financial help, and they just give it, no strings attached, no context, just here you go, have a good day, right? And I thought, I could definitely use that. My truck was recently totaled out, so now I don't have a vehicle, which, living in West Virginia in small town America and having some mobility issues, it's I'm going through some things. I don't want to get into everything, but I'm going through some things. So I put, I put my Cash App, because that's what people are doing, is people are putting their Cash App information, right? And I put it on several of these. Then I think, you know what? I'm going to get ahead of the curve, because this is how brilliant I am with the technology, knowing almost nothing about algorithms and such. But I thought, I'll make a thing on my TikTok, right, that has my Cash App, and I'll attach the hashtags, FedPhoenix, of course, and PayPeg, because, clearly that will, if there's a hashtag attached to my post of this thing, this philanthropy trend, it's going to, draw people like moths to a flame. Baby, when I tell you I was wrong, first off, I put that post up days ago, and days ago was when I was on my little adventure of posting my Cash App and all these posts that were saying drop your Cash App, see what you get. Not a freaking penny. But do you know what I did get? I got, and I'm still getting, a tsunami. I mean, I'm a person who on TikTok probably has 3 or 4, message requests or messages daily, every few days, whatever. And at that point, before the whole pay pig thing, I had maybe like 20 followers on TikTok as well, right? So, because you guys know I'm not super social. So anyway, so now I'm getting like literally over 100, well over 100 messages a day. Although they're starting to taper off, thank God. And they're literally just all of these scammers. Obviously on like stolen TikTok profiles or fake profiles, and 1,000 messages talking about what's your cash tag or what's your cash whatever. I'm gonna send you some money. What's your, if you had $5,000 today, what would you do with it? If I cash up to you, $2,500, would you, emoji, buy a house, or, pay on your mortgage, emoji with a little car, upgrade your car? Would you pay some bit? Like all this nonsense, just complete nonsense. And so, of course, knowing this and knowing this whole pay pig thing is people that just like send you money just because they're being nice and like maybe buying some good karma for themselves, and they don't message you. There's no, there's no context to it. So I know all these DMs, like every single one of them. I don't have to open hundreds of DMs. I know that they are all in fact scammers, right? So I'm deleting them, deleting them, deleting them. Well, in the process of doing this, as I'm scrolling on TikTok, more of these pay pig things come up. Now I start learning more about this whole pay pig thing, right? Apparently, this is like something in like the S&M community, which is like a kink kind of thing that has to do with fandoms, financial domination. It's this thing, and I only know about it because I had a neighbor one time, and she did this, online as like a source of extra income. But there are people, particularly men, often wealthy, powerful men, who really just enjoy thoroughly being degraded and financially exploited. But it's like a consensual adult thing. And like the guys will like go to the ATM, and tell them how they're, just say really bad things about them. I don't even want to, and demand that they send you money, and they send you money. Like they just do it. And they do it because they want to, because they enjoy the being degraded or being controlled or dominated. I don't know. Apparently it's some kind of weird, freaky thing. So, the funny part in all of this, I tell y'all probably a little too much sometimes, right? And I kind of sometimes, in my mind, even though I'm aware that these videos will become available to people broadly on the internet, I kind of just feel like I'm talking to myself a little bit, you know what I mean? And so I probably overshare sometimes. But the kicker here, the part that's kind of funny, and to me at least, is, so some of these inboxes I'm getting from these scammers, of course I know they're almost all of them are like some Nigerian guy, probably in the southern part of Nigeria, either at home or in an internet cafe, if he's not particularly good at scamming, can't really afford to have internet and all that at home. And I know a little bit about Nigeria too, And so sometimes when these people message me, I don't know if it's boredom or loneliness or just intrigue, maybe a combo, but they'll be like, oh, well, I want to pay your rent. How much is your rent? What would you do with $5,000 right now? Or a lot of them will say, I'd like your permission to send you money. I'd like to confirm, which is all bullshit. But sometimes I'm like, so what part of Nigeria are you in? I have a friend in Lagos. And they're like, no, I'm not, And of course, the overuse of emojis, the type of English they use, that very much, I can almost hear the Nigerian accent in my head as I'm reading it. And I'm just like, no, like, I'm not like the feds or nothing, I really just am curious. Like, what's the weather like where you're at today? Are you Igbo or Fulani or Hassa, which are ethnic groups in Nigeria. And generally what's been happening is they just get scared and block me. Or I had one guy, because they like think I'm like some kind of like internet crimes investigator or something. Like, obviously we both know you're a scammer. Like, I'm bored, you have some free time, let's talk culture, you know what I mean? In my head this is perfectly logical, but apparently it's a little trippy to them. But I have one guy, and he was like, oh, first he tried to deny, deny. And then eventually, instead of blocking me, he was like, okay, yeah, you're right. I'm Nigerian, blah, 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 whatever. And so I was like, oh, so, like, what city are you from, or what town, or and are you near the whatever, this border, or do you have whatever. And so I'm asking like all these questions, and he responds with, and I said, if you could just quit lying to me, that'd be great. You know what I mean? Like that make conversation better. And he's like, okay, I don't lie to you no more. I just tell you the full truth. You're my friend, whatever. And then I'm asking him these very simple questions. And instead of answering them, he's like, now you can trust me because I admitted I'm in Nigeria. So now I just need the login information for your Facebook because I'm going to optimize it for you. And I'm like, I know that's a scam too. Like, here's the thing. I have above average intelligence. And even if I didn't, even if I was on the lower end of average, I know it's a scam too. Like, quit trying to scam me. And he's like, okay, no problem, no problem, no problem. And he said, so are you really somebody that, like, all Americans are rich? Like, why would you be posting your Cash App, And I was like, well, no, that's not true. And then I start getting into some Americans, can't afford their medication. A lot of people struggle to pay for food and, blah, blah, blah. And as I'm explaining the actual economic structure here in America, he then proceeds to tell me, well, I actually could help you out. I can send you some money on PayPal, but I need your login information. And I'm like, dude, my PayPal's not connected to my bank account. And if it was, you would see that I have like $3 to my name. It's really not worth your time, I assure you. Also, I know this is a scam. And he's like, okay, if you're not comfortable giving me your login information, that's fine. He said, but, being in Nigeria, I have to pay a fee, to do things, which a lot of course, more BS. And he was like, so I can PayPal or Cash App you 3,000 American dollars, but first I need you to pay a $40 American dollar fee for me to be able to do this. But when I send you the 3,000, could you send me 200 back because it's from a business account and blah, blah. I was just bored, trying to have conversation, maybe make a buddy. And instead, people got scared and blocked me. And the very few who didn't either ignored me or, in the case of this guy, just really insisted on trying to take advantage of me. So if you're on TikTok and you see that whole pay pig thing, and of course there are multiple people that are like, oh yeah, it worked. And I posted my Cash App yesterday. I woke up this morning. I had like, $7,000, $1,200 from random pay pigs. I'm starting to wonder if they're all just liars. I suspect they're all liars. But I'm also not sure because I know I don't really know the technology that well. And in all fairness, I'm not that embedded in the kink community to know if people really randomly do this or if it's like a mutual agreed upon thing like my neighbor friend had. So, anywho, a little something, something. So let me know, if y'all know about this, let me know, is it really all BS or does it actually work for some people? But, yeah. So that was my latest reentry blunder, was thinking that there was any possible legitimacy to some TikTok trend of sharing your cash tag and money falling from the sky. So, and I'm just one of those people, I'm very literal, and sometimes I don't read between the lines well, and I'm definitely someone who sometimes just allows myself to just kind of roll with things as if they were the truth without critically examining them. And most of the time when I do that, I deeply regret it, which is probably why I'm an overthinker, because it's probably been beat into me 100 times by life that when I don't overthink, things go left. So, anywho, that's that. And again, if you want to see me on TikTok, FedPhoenix, one word. Oh, but guess what? So remember I told y'all that when I first posted this pay pig thing, right? I had like 20 followers maybe. I'm at over 100. So the one thing, and I don't know if that's really as exciting in reality as I think it is, because again, I'm not real hip to these things, but I can say that the heart reaction to videos, the amount of videos being watched, my followers on TikTok, like all of these numbers have went up exponentially, like through the freaking roof. So even if it's BS and you have no interest in it, whatever, the whole pay pig thing, I almost want to say drop your Cash App on these posts anyway, because even though you're going to get flooded with a bunch of, TikTok message thingies that are going to be complete crap, just delete those. You're going to get a lot more, if you care about that, followers and views and likes, and you're going to get flooded with that shit too. Which, even though I know that all these new people and all this new activity is literally scammers who were just kind of sizing me up to see what they thought they could get out of me, I don't care, because I think that it's a good thing. I don't know. Kind of. Maybe, right? To have like all this activity, like if you're a person that one day would like to be monetized on these platforms, I definitely know that the higher your activity, the better. And like interaction. So I feel like this has been beneficial, but I honestly don't know. So, but that's all for now, and take care, and I will holler at y'all later.